I'm making a speech tomorrow at the NRA in Houston, and it'll be very interesting. It's, interesting time to be making such a speech, frankly.
Frankly, it's an interesting time to be making such a speech, frankly. Donald Trump talking about his time going down to the NRA conference to speak and let them all know he still supports. Now, of course, as we've heard majority of this week, but also before that, we need more guns. We need more guns, we need more guns, and then people with guns, and after that, other people with guns. So at the NRA conference, what could you expect? Let's look at this. According to the NRA, the Secret Service is taking control of the hall during Trump's speech and has prohibited attendees from having firearms, firearms accessories, and knives, ammunition, laser pointers, pepper spray, toy guns, backpacks, and other items also won't be allowed. Weird. The Secret Service, well, they're going to search attendees as they go through metal detectors and everything before they even enter the hall. The NRA said this. Also, it's not the first time. We've seen this happen before because in 2018, a similar prohibition was put in place during a speech by then Vice President Pence. The Secret Service told NPR in a statement at the time that the agency has the quote authority to preclude firearms from entering sites visited by our protectees, including those located in open carry states. Weird how that works, but there were people that did show up to the NRA conference and knew this was the approach they were going to take because guns, but not really, and people are finally, I think, beginning to figure out how hypocritical this entire thing is. Let's watch the scene from what was going on there. There's a lot more hypocrisy to go around here, you guys, but first, some of your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought for a second you were going to say going through a MAGA detector.
Oh, well,
that thing would be beeping all day long. And then
it is a magnetometer.
Is that? Oh, there you go. Okay. So, all right, now let me tell you why Trump is going. It's an interesting time to go. Yeah, it's an interesting time because the NRA is drenched in blood, and you're going to go anyway. Do you guys remember Donald Trump after one of the shootings came out and said, "You know what? I know a lot of these guys." And he was sitting around in a table filled with Republicans. They're scared of the NRA, but not me. Okay, I might do something. And then the next day he came back out and said, "I'm sorry, I'm not doing anything. The NRA is right. I'm not going to do anything at all." You know why? NRA spent $30 million helping him get elected in 2016, and then they went bankrupt, so they had very little money. So in 2020. They still spent $12.5 million against Joe Biden and $4 million in ads in favor of Donald Trump. So all in all, they've given him at least $46.5 million, and that's just on his races, let alone all the other Republicans that they've given countless millions of dollars to. So that's why Donald Trump, like a good boy, is going and kissing the ass of the NRA, because he's not actually tough, he's not actually strong, he's just corrupt. So he's just a standard politician. So he'll go and grovel to the NRA for more money, and he couldn't care less about dead kids.
Obviously, the NRA is drenched in blood. Donald Trump is drenched in NRA money. What JR said is true, the hypocrisy, when you look at this picture, if you look at the fact that this is the place where they are celebrating American firearms in Houston, Texas this weekend. Yet, and they're all talking about how they're safe, responsible gun owners. That's what the NRA is about. And by the way, steeped in their history, they were about safe, responsible gun ownership. And you should read Misfire, by the way, which is Tim Mack's book. And you should follow Tim Mack on Twitter. He's a reporter, he's a friend, but he is the best person on the NRA right now. He's at Tim K. Mack, M-A-K, I believe. I digress. The point that I'm making is the point that you made, JR, which is that this in a nutshell is everything we're talking about. Donald Trump's going to the NRA convention. So even the most presumably responsible gun owners in America can't even have guns when the former president is there. They have to say no guns because they know the danger of guns. And they know how dangerous it is to have the gun in the face of the president, of the former vice president. Not that they're wrong, the Secret Service is right about this, because guns are out of control in America right now. And that, in a nutshell, is exactly what's happening in Houston today.
Can I really, both of you guys can answer this, because I'm sure there's conservatives that, because they've said it before, like when AOC or any prominent a Democratic official has security and they go, "Oh, I thought you hated guns. Your security has guns." So this is kind of the opposite, right? They think everyone should have guns, but when they go to their NRA convention, nobody should have guns. I have my thoughts about the differences between it, but I just want to put that out there because I'm sure people who are watching who are disagreeing with what we're saying are probably like, well, of course, but you guys love guns when it's your people getting protected. Obviously, guns are necessary.
So look, Secret Service aren't normal cops, but if they were normal cops, the reason they wouldn't want to have any guns in the building is if somebody else pulled out a gun, they would go, ah, and run out the door. And especially if there were kids inside, my God, they'd be states away, right? But seriously, guys, look, this is definitive proof. If they thought that guns made them safer, which is what they say all the time, right? Then they would not take guns away when the president is speaking. They would literally hand out guns. It's a gun convention.
Yeah.
They would give everyone in the audience a gun and say, oh God, thank God, we're so much safer now, right? Like, for example, what do cops think make them safer? Bulletproof vests, that makes sense. That's why if they're in a hostile situation, they all put on bulletproof vests. That's very logical. They hand it out to everybody, right? Now they say guns make you safer, but hey, Trump is really valuable, so I want to take all your guns away. Wait, according to your logic, wouldn't you want to add more guns? Give everyone guns? See, even they know they're lying. There's no question about it.
As they're coming in Houston, I talked about this also this morning. The mayor was like, we asked them maybe they wanted to delay it, maybe cancel for a bit, and they're like, yeah, we thought about it for a little while. No, not at all. Because they said, but instead, this headline points out the NRA says that this Houston convention, they're going to, quote, reflect on the Uvalde school shooting. I'm looking forward to seeing the reflection to see if they're going to maybe come up with some kind of solutions outside of the ones that we've been hearing for the past few days about how this is going to stop. No, not at all.
They have so much to reflect on. I'm sorry, Jared.
No, there's a lot, right?
The National Reflection Association. There's a shooting every 20 minutes or whatever it is in this country. And if I'm wrong, I'm not way wrong. And that's what they have on their hands. So I'm sorry.
No, absolutely no.
And I'll give you one more stat. Sorry, Jay. To back up what Michael's saying, mass shooting sometimes is described as 4 people dead, sometimes as 4 people shot in the same shooting. If you use the 4 people shot in the same shooting, almost every year now, we have 1 mass shooting per day in America. There's a massacre every single day in America. So, my God, do they have some reflecting to do?
Well, some of the reflection that maybe they should do, some of the hypocrisy that you'll see from people like Trump, Cruz, and Kristi Noem. Let's go to some of the details they have as far as what they're receiving and why they want to still show up to something like this. Because in 2020, the NRA alone spent over 12 million campaigning against Biden, another 4 now. This is what Cenk pointed out. And 54 million during the 2016 election cycle. He caved to the NRA during that time. Ted Cruz, let's go to the next, Ted Cruz. Texas Senator Ted Cruz has been the biggest beneficiary of gun lobby groups when it comes to campaign spending. A separate study by Open Secrets looked at funds received by gun rights groups from '89 to 2020, and it shows that he received $442,333 in that time period. And on a post-Parkland shooting proposal to raise the minimum age for firearm purchases to 21, Ted Cruz of Texas drew a hard line, saying that legal adults have the right to defend themselves. Let's go to South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. The NRA would welcome her. The NRA would be welcome in South Dakota. We understand the freedoms that come with defending our Second Amendment, how it allows us to protect our families and carry on South Dakota's cherished hunting traditions. Maybe some feral pigs. Representative Kristi Noem, who isn't interested in expanding federal background checks for gun owners, that's what she says. So also, the governor signs this constitutional carry bill into law. Again, I think it's pretty straightforward. We've seen it with many of these issues that we talk about, from healthcare to housing to economics, anything that comes with politicians. Once they're paid by certain groups, they have to do the bidding of those groups. If they don't, the money goes away. It's like any other job. If you work for an accounting firm and you walk in and go, you know what? I'm not crunching any numbers today. I'm just gonna sit around here and play some video games. They're gonna say, oh, maybe go home? These guys are doing the job that they were paid to do, to the tune of all of this money that we just saw. Yeah, it's just the basic way it works.
So look, I know real hunters, and they sit in the woods patiently for hours, sometimes a whole day to get the deer. They don't go to the woods and fire an AR-15 like a jackass. That's not how hunting works. So the AR-15 is to murder human beings. If you need an AR-15 to shoot deer, first of all, it's not the right weapon. And second of all, you're an idiot and a jackass and the worst hunter in the world. So let's be honest about what's happening. And so the AR-15s are to murder people, but hey, gun manufacturers make money from it, and they take a small portion of those proceeds and they give it to criminal politicians like Kristi Noem and Ron Johnson and Ted Cruz, and and Donald Trump. So that's how bribes work. Now, Wayne LaPierre, a longtime head of the NRA, I think he has led to more deaths in America than probably any American in history. So that is a hell of a pass for the NRA and president. And they celebrated, standing ovation. Oh, Wayne LaPierre, way to get thousands of Americans, including our kids, killed, yay! But remember, when we go hunting, we could just butcher deer with an AR-15. No, look, there is one thing that could make a difference in Texas. So the convention is in Texas, the shooting was in Texas. Of course, another massacre in El Paso was in Texas. There was a church massacre in Texas. And then they wonder what happened. Okay, look, there's
a shooting just in Houston at the Astro World concert this year. I mean, in Houston.
Yeah,
at the end of last year.
It's absolutely endless. Right wingers and Republican politicians, as long as they're getting their bribes, don't care about all those dead kids and all those dead people at all. That's the most obvious thing in the world now. Okay, so but how could it make a difference? As I said in the first hour, there is one election that could make a difference. And that's Beto O'Rourke versus Greg Abbott. If Beto O'Rourke running on a gun control campaign, and he's one of the most aggressively in favor of gun control in the whole country, and he's running in Texas for governor against Greg Abbott. He beats Greg Abbott, and all of a sudden you have, for the first time ever, hope. Because at that point, then the Republicans will scramble thinking, my God, if we can lose in Texas, we can lose anywhere, and we might actually get gun control.
No, I mean, that's 100% true. And what he's doing on the issue is impressive too, because he's doing it in Texas of all places, right? I mean, so not only is the deck stacked against it because we know the control this issue has, but he's doing it in the place that is sort of gun capital of America, and that in and of itself is just so damn impressive. I also think that we should lower the voting age to 16 in this country and see what happens when people whose schools are getting shot up get a chance to vote on an issue like this, because then you have different people in the conversation. You say they're old enough to own a gun. If someone's old enough to own a gun at 18, then they're old enough to vote at 16 when it's their school that they're protecting.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.